winning in Spain. And these are players who might not be known to the wider public, but they've come here and shown they're very capable of competing. And Feliciano will certainly feel he can add to that run. That was Jayson Shaw talking there to Emily Fraser of the event organisers Matchroom. Ben Taylor-Fuente is our referee, and I think once we get the players back in, everything will be ready to go.
Well, you talk about Feliciano. I only really heard of him in one event, and of course it wasn't as big as the event here, but the field was real class there in the Philippines. He finished runner-up. Then last week I got to put my eyes on him at the Perry Open. He finished runner-up again. So pretty good stuff from him.
Yeah, and he's shown he can back it up in a bigger event with the run he's already had here to the last 8.
Two very eager players there, sweating that lag, Michael, because it's so important, because they're both breaking the balls so well.
So here we go then. What a treat. On Saturday in Hanoi, 2 of the top 6 players in the world rankings squaring off for a place in the semi-finals of the Hanoi Open.
It'll be interesting to see about Jayson if things go against him early. I think if he was to tell you, he'd tell you himself that he took himself out of a few matches in this, on tour this year, with some things going away from him early, and maybe got some frustration. So it's going to be important for him to stay positive, of course, and stay patient. He doesn't want that 2 roaming by the pocket, even though he did get the snooker. He knows the jumping prowess of his opponent in Fedor Gorst.
Jayson Shaw, 35 years of age, ranked number 6 in the world. Fedor Gorst 2 places higher than that, significantly younger though, at 23.
Yeah, no, this is a difficult jump shot just because the 5 ball he's cueing near. You're hitting down on this. And something you don't do very often is jump a ball when you're already jacked up over another. So all ball fouls here. And a little favorite to pocket the 2.
Certainly did that in style, and even if it doesn't lead anywhere, be a nice way to settle into a match and give you just that tiny little extra boost of confidence and adrenaline.
Yeah, this is going to be an awkward shot here. He's trying to come across the 3. There's a possibility of a scratch, so he's just going to play it softly, try and get the 3 up, cue ball on the rail. The reason why the cue ball on the rail is so important, you don't want to leave the bottom of the cue ball for options with a safety. And we saw Gorst bury a big 2-ball bank, and we may see Jayson Shaw go for a bank by the 6, run the cue ball up the table and down. Wow, what a touch this is going to be. Did it get there? It's close.
Yeah, I don't think he has,
Well, a little unlucky that the 3 caught the 4 so heavy and stopped right there. Thought he played a pretty nice cue ball considering.
These 2 players are actually in similar situations, really. Neither of them has won a Matchroom individual event. Both had team success in the Moscone. They have both won huge events before they became Matchroom tournaments. Gorst, the World Championship in 2019. Shaw, the US Open a couple of years prior to that. They have something else in common in that they're both players who crossed the Atlantic and have made their home in the United States. Shaw runs a pool room in Connecticut, which recently staged good quality, albeit smaller, world ranking tournament.
Yeah, and Jayson, even though he hasn't been on the TV table in his last, one good thing for Jayson, I believe he carries the exact same model at his pool room there in Connecticut, the Rasson.
So Gorst had the miss from distance. And Shaw has taken the resulting opportunity very well. I think this is a foretaste of Alexandra Palace. We know Jayson Shaw loves to get the crowd going. Doesn't matter whether it's in North London or maybe playing away from home in the United States or here in Hanoi. Jayson Shaw with the crowd on his side, with the opening rack on his side of the board. He leads Fedor Gorst 1-0. No score to report yet from the other match that's going on, Sanyan Pelovanovic against Michael Feliciano. Yeah, that was it. The miss on the 3 from Gorst. Sort of shot that is going to test you a bit early on in the match when you've not quite settled into it yet.
Yeah, well, we have a little different shot clock setting here with the referees. So I think you're going to see the players play a bit faster, just because the way, you know, the 10 seconds is announced, the 5 seconds is announced. It's not so much automated with the computer where it's really a manual device, and or let's just say human doing it. And I don't know if Jayson really wants to go down that road of getting the crowd involved too much, considering how many fans there are here for Fedor Gorst.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if Gorst wins the next rack. Will he do something similar?
I wouldn't doubt
that
it.
Ups the stakes a little further. Shaw 1-0 up.
Well, he's going to get a good look here. It's not easy, but it is natural. Looks like it's pretty thin on the blue two to the middle, but definitely a playable shot. And one it looks like he'll have to play with a real deft touch. I think he's got to shoot here, though. Even if he has to cut this in and go 2 rails past the 3 to play the 3 in the lower left, maybe something thin, I think he should attack.
Extension call.
Yeah, this is definitely playable. I don't think there's any worry about the cue ball, like scratching or going into the purple. Oh, he's elevating. Interesting. Is he banking this? Well, he tried to kill the cue ball. That's the only reason I could suspect why he dug down on it. And we may see a special one here in a moment. I think he does have the left edge of the 2, and if he does, he will tack to the upper right and running the cue ball all the way back down for the 3.
Extension call.
Both of these players came through without having to go to the loser side. Gorst's closest match was against Ko Po Cheng in the last 64. It was 8-7 down on the next 3 to go through.
Yeah, doesn't mind overcutting this. Doesn't want to catch it thick. And that's what the shot I was talking about. Wow.
Ball in hand. Please start the clock.
What's going on here, man?
People love to talk in all sorts of sports now about getting the crowd involved, and very often what that actually means is doing things to distract them from the action, which I don't think gets them involved at all. Here this week in Vietnam, we've seen what being involved really means, and you can hear it there with all the oohs and the ahs. It's only the second rack, and they're already so engrossed in this contest.
This is definitely one of the matchups they came for, and sure sweet that we could give it to them.
Well, this morning there was an opening ceremony at the start of the first session of the day's play, and all 16 players were welcomed individually down the stairs and into the arena. And without doubt, the two biggest cheers were for these two.
Yeah, and Jayson getting on with it here, and sometimes has that speedy rhythm, but normally it's never slow by any means, but it's very deliberate. Talked to Jayson quite a bit this week, and you know, we talk about his game and talk about different things, and last night we were talking, and it's like in golf, you know, they have quite a bit of time between shots, and you have to find that for yourself. That doesn't mean it has to be slow, but just something that calms you.
So in the opening rack, it was the missed pot from distance by Gorst that gave Shaw the opportunity. This time it was the scratch in the middle after a spectacular pot. Both times, Shaw has cleaned up from there, and he's into an early lead of 2-0. Now over on the other table that's in progress, Michael Feliciano of the Philippines is also leading 2-0 over Sanyan Pelovanovic. Pelovanovic can still get into that Mosconi Cup team for Europe if he wins the title. And this is the man who's in pole position in that particular race at the moment, as indeed he is in the match. Balls racked, swiftly on to rack number 3.
Hitting 2 racks to 0.
All right, the 2 ball. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Anytime it's going up there by itself, as a player, you got to feel good. You're going to have some type of option, offensive or defensive, and a good one here for Eagle Eye. And it's amazing, Michael. We've done so many matches now, and we seem to see a lot the same theme, to where we get racks early that are very doable, runnable. And then as the matches go on, they start to lay a little more difficult. We start to see a few more push outs and some real exchanges from both players.
Shaw hasn't really had a close match on his way through the draw. Closest one really was in the last 32 against Johan Chua, World Cup winner with the Philippines over the summer in Spain. And even that was 10-6. It started the single elimination stage with a 10-2 win over Bui Trong An of Vietnam. 6 players from the host country made the final 64, but they were all beaten at that stage. He'd already defeated Jeff DeLuna in winners qualification. And earlier today he was a 10-4 winner against Jan van Lierop. Had a little bit of a scare there. He was 7-0 up, and Lierop made a bit of a charge before Shaw got it done at 10-4. Seen some amazing recoveries this week. Anton Raga from 8-1 down to beat Billy Thorpe. Alban Ocean recovering from 7-2 behind against Shane Van Boning last night. There wasn't to be any turnaround in that one. That's why Shaw was here, but he didn't want the cue ball to be there.
Yeah, I'm really surprised he didn't just lay up on the short side of the 8. Talk about it all the time. No reason to go past position, just to get a little better.
Extension
and now
goal.
a very awkward shot, and good thing he's left-handed. This could be really treacherous for a righty. If he tries to go up and down, this is a very missable ball. I'd try to go into the 9. Get a little bump on the 9 here. Yeah, like that. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Well, it's only rack 3, but that's a moment we could really be looking back on. What a chance that was to get the first break and run of the contest. Lead 3-0. As bad a miss as you will ever see from Jayson Shaw, really. Fedor Gorst had nothing left to do. He's potted the 9. It's now 2-1 to Jayson Shaw in this quarter-final. Everything was going so sweetly for Jayson Shaw. He had a simple 9 to lead 3-0 and complete the first break and run of this quarter-final against Fedor Gorst. But inexplicably, he missed it by some distance. Fedor Gorst had a simple 9 to get back to 2-1 down. Now he's breaking for the first time in the match.
Well, and you talk about punishment, or what appears to be punishment. It starts right here in rack 4 for Fedor Gorst, and that chair could be warming up for Jayson Shaw.
I used the word inexplicable there about his miss on the 9, but I suppose there always is some sort of explanation, and perhaps you have one for how he missed that.
Well, first off, he probably exerted a little more heart rate after getting over the 9, shooting the 8. That didn't help things, but Jayson's one of the very few top players that doesn't really settle or rest the tip prior to the last stroke, and I think sometimes that can get to you. You know, that's the only thing physically I could possibly gather from that. You know, something mental maybe. And this could certainly get mental here. Now some tricky work here. There are paths though. Probably wants to shoot the 4 on the side, but falls short. That way he can wrap the cue ball around the brown 7, a couple rails underneath the 6, in for position on the 5. So I wouldn't expect this cue ball to come all the way back. Just get into the center of the table for something thin on the pink 4.
Fairly similar path to this stage to the one I described for Shaw. It was comfortable enough through the 2 matches he had to play to reach single elimination after a walkover in his first. Beat Marvin Assis of the Philippines and Masato Yoshioka of Japan, both 9-3. Then I told you about that close one against Ko Po Cheng. Saw off Jeffrey Roda of the Philippines 10-5 last night, and really good result today. Getting through 10-4 against World Masters winner Ko Pin Yi.
Yeah, a little bump on the 5 there, and a couple times in his previous match and around the 16, the only real flaw we saw was a couple of the draw strokes. So maybe missed his mark with the tip position just a bit. Now, very good there, and with an open 8 ball, he can play from above the 7, or if he needed to, there was some worry he could drop below the 7, playing it up long. Looks like he's going to come back above it, just pinching the cue ball. And I see something noticeable here, and I think a very conscious thing for Fedor Gorst. I think he's playing a little faster. If you notice the miss in the first game, was it a long 3 ball? The 5-second call came right when he was pulling the trigger. I think he noticed that, and he wants to stay away from it as far as the shot clock is concerned.
Yeah, and you can't play to the beeps because they're not using that system, so you've got to be even more cautious.
Yeah, and you can't get the visual. You can't get the visual of the clock, so.
So Jayson Shaw looked for all the world as though he was going to run out from the break in the 3rd rack. Missed a 9 that was no great degree more difficult than this one. Fedor Gorst has deposited the 9, and only a few minutes after it looked like he was going 3-0 down, he's completed a break and run of his own and is level at 2 each. Semyon Pelovanovic has got off the mark in the other quarter-final that's in progress at the moment. Still trails Michael Feliciano of the Philippines, but now it's 2-1 in that. So now you know for sure, JJ, who your 3 automatics are for the Mosconi. I'm not asking you to name names, obviously, but are you pretty clear in your head about who your 2 picks are going to be? Actually, hold that thought for a moment, because we have to stop to look at Efren Reyes in this exhibition against Wenan Tan. I always feel with Reyes, if you sum up the titles he's won and the achievements he's had in his career, sounds great, but it doesn't fully reflect just what a big star he is. So try to tell us why Reyes is held in such high regard.
Well, just the things he does on the pool table that no one else has, and plays all disciplines incredibly well, and he just seems like when it was ever a big title, meaning dollar-wise or the name, he took it down, and he's just a special guy. You've never seen so many players, I don't think in any sport, that would stick around to watch one particular player play, and I think that's the guy, Efren Reyes, and he's a man of the people. I've been to the Philippines several times and did many exhibitions, fortunate enough to do with him and Bustamante, and we used to walk around the street and you wouldn't believe, he'd just hand out money, to the people of the Philippines, and they weren't running up there for that, but he was just so gracious, and just a sportsman for the ages.
Speaking of ages, he'll be 70 next year.
Yeah, and still be pretty hard to beat. This guy here banking the ball is pretty hard to beat as well. A little concern here. He may catch the 9 a bit. He wants to get an angle on the 4 to get over for the 5 and can't overlook the bank. Yeah, that ball spread on him a little bit. That's where the new felt He missed 2 banks in his round of 16 match. He did make a big one for a 3rd bank, but
extension call.
now always talk about the Spaniards and how great they are rail first. By the way, Everin Ray is the greatest rail first player that's ever lived, and it's not even close. But Jayson Shaw, very, very good at this type of shot as well.
You knew there was no chance of him making them after that.
Well, I'm just going to say he was playing safe. But I mean, he missed that by some piece, so maybe pretty fortunate to get, you know, a pretty good roll on a miss, not one he anticipated. He was definitely going offensive. We talk about rail first. Back in the day when I started to win matches on tour and became a little more friendly with some of the greats, I asked Nick Varner, you know, what do you do with Efren if you come down the end and, you know, there's a sticky situation? He said, let him see a piece of the ball before you let him kick at it. So if that tells you how great he was. All right, going for the cut. Watch the 8 ball. Going to be a close call for the ref. Wow, what a hit. What a hit.
Wow.
I said watch the 8. I didn't think of it in that regard. I think this has got to get looked at. Ooh. Very, very close.
We had that kick shot combination earlier from Ko Ping Chung that, in terms of the spectacular, had to be described as perhaps the shot of the tournament. That was very nearly, in another sense, the best shot.
I think we're going to try and get a replay. And this one's going to have to get slowed down quite a bit. Normally you can tell by the way the balls react, the 8 it is. I don't know if we can get that from here. Ooh, I don't know. I think that was a bad one. Only reason I say, did you see where the 3 hit on the pocket? It hit the upper side of the pocket. So imagine being able to cut that ball to the upper side from behind it. I think that may be pretty impossible, really.
It's so tight, isn't it? We're going to have, Ben, the referee, is telling us they're going to have another look at it.
Well, I think Fedor just said what I said. Watch the 3 to the upper side of the pocket. That would be a pretty impossible cut from my little bit of physics knowledge I have.
Yeah, well, you see that in a football match. One of the players, be unlikely to anyway. It seemed to me, maybe you saw it differently, but Gorst seemed to be suggesting maybe it had been a foul, and Ben was assuring him it hadn't.
Yeah, well, it's up to the referee, and it was a close one.
Yeah. A very close call in the last match on the main table earlier. It was almost impossible to decide, but I think on the margins and probabilities, that one was got right.
All right, trying to take his chances that the 4 doesn't hang over the pocket. Ooh, we got a nice little kiss there, maybe. Don't know if the purple 5's in the way or not. No, he's definitely got to look. Jason's got to settle himself a bit. And that's what I was talking about before. At times, Jayson has had a little issues with the draw stroke. Started back last year. Actually, he ended up winning the event, the International, but there were 2 or 3 times where it wasn't the best strike on the bottom of the cue ball. I'll tell you what, I don't call him Eagle and Eye for no reason.
So, looked like he was going to get to 3 a few racks ago before that remarkable miss on the 9. He is going to get there belatedly if he can polish off these few.
Yeah, and that was better on the bottom of the ball there. And all those shots make a difference. Reason being, and not only something physical that may cost you, but mentally to get through this match.
Jayson Shaw leads once again at 3-2. Just to go back to that point you made about Efren Reyes, because it's such a good one. Was it Nick Varner?
Nick
said
Varner,
was having a
yeah.
conversation. Just in case anyone didn't quite understand what you were saying, it was almost as if you were better off in terms of not wanting to leave him a chance by leaving him with a ball he could hit straight at rather than having to come off the rail.
Yeah, well, you know, a lot of times when we play safe, we chip a ball to the end rail and we try and snooker a person and leave him long for a kick or whatnot. And Nick Varner said when push came to shove, let Efren see the ball. You got a better chance that way. It seems like he always figures out how to get safe if he has to hit the cushion first. And of course, I think it was 1971 that Efren kind of quit playing 9-ball for a little bit because no one would play him in the Philippines or their rounds, and he started playing 3 cushion for many years and went back to the 9-ball scene. I'm sure that didn't hurt his 9-ball.
Sandin Pelovanovic on the brink of 4-2 there, as we saw. Jayson Shaw will get to that score if he can win this rack.
Well, I think the 3's definitely gotten in the way of the left middle for a very doable 2-ball, and maybe the 5 has gotten in the way for the corner pocket. Kind of feel like the corner is available, but it's not easy. Now, if Eagle Eye's feeling good and he does have that corner, I think he should take it on. Now, if it's any kind of close, you know, that make a difference on what you might shoot at and what you might not. But I almost feel like there's starting to be a little bit of, just like Efren, there used to be an Efren effect, you know, on a player, and I kind of feel like that's starting to grow with Fedor Gorst as well. And he caught the purple. He's going to get, I think, a little bit of a roll. No, he's going to get a shot.
Explain what you mean by that, the Fedor effect.
Well, you know, you just feel like you have to have hardly any mistakes. And then you also have to have some racks where you don't let him out of the chair just because he kicks at the ball so well, he jumps at the ball so well. And, you know, if you're kicking with any or playing safe with any of these great players, they're going to get out of it at a certain percentage. And then he breaks so well, he's going to put racks on you. So I think, you know, Filler had that effect for a little while. SVB, of course, for like 10 years. It takes a strong mind to leave your opponent, you know, kind of out of it. Okay, squeezed that one home. It wasn't exactly perfect. And he's gotten a little on top of the 3. I think you're going to start to see him slow down a little bit. I think he was playing a little fast these last few games.
Fedor Gorst, world champion 4 years ago now, while he was still a teenager. Beat Chang Young Lin in a close final.
And I don't know, Michael, maybe because I'm kind of knee deep in it, but I definitely feel there's a little more to this match now that was transpired this last week here in Hanoi.
Yeah, I know they've been making some comments about it all, trading them back and forth and whatever social media platform they use. Shaw was saying earlier that it was all friendly and in jest, but I'm not sure that's entirely true. Someone who loves to stir it up ahead of a Mosconi is Jayson, to put it mildly.
Yeah, I love Jayson, but he'll pick and poke a little bit to where it becomes a little more than just fun. I know that year I had that funny foul situation. I think the next day he asked for the cue ball to get clean like 3 or 4 times and looked right at me each time. So,
well, he's from the Glasgow area, which is home to one of the most famous sporting rivalries on earth. 2 football clubs of Rangers and Celtic, so I'm sure he's well versed in these arts.
Yeah, it's in his blood is what you're saying.
So an eventful start to this one. Fedor Gorst has yet to lead, but he is now Fedor Gorst is having the better of it at the moment from 2-0 down. He's won 3 of the last 4 racks and is now level with Jayson Shaw at 3-all in this quarter-final. He breaks in number 7.
Yeah, very good break off there, and you can hear the ball hit solidly in the corner. Made 3 on the break, I believe.
I think it's 3, yeah.
You could see him throw his hand in the air a little bit because the 3 got locked up on the 9 and really no pocket. And I don't believe he has the proper angle to really get at opening the 3-9.
You may have noticed there, just to Gorst's right, Ralph Eckert, who will not be captaining him in the Mosconi Cup anymore.
Yeah, high ball here, so probably playing what looks like a bank cross corner, but really a safety, trying to hit it high up the rail. He was trying to come 1 rail behind the 8-9.
Just to keep you across what's going on in the other quarter-final that's in progress at the moment, Sanyan Pelovanovic has really turned things around there and now leads Michael Feliciano by 5 racks to 2, so already halfway to victory and a place in the semis.
Yeah, and you got to, just like we talked about in the last, one of the best things about this World 9-Ball Tour, as far as my job's concerned, is seeing these youngsters really evolve. Unfortunate that him and his buddy Alexa Pasels drew each other in the final 64. But it's good that, of course, one of them was going to advance, and now advancing even further, and a chance him in a semifinal if he can kind of hold what he's done so far. Now he's going to jump at this ball and most likely bring the 2 down near on the bottom end of this table. So doesn't want to leave a 2 ball that, you know, really allows some type of opening on the 3, 8, and 9, or even a safety. Whoever gets the 2 down first is probably going to have a chance to play a pretty lock-up safety on the 3, if not open them up. Oh, he might have made this. Okay, Jayson has a little bit of an angle, but not a whole lot. So to play the safety he wants, he either needs to get underneath the 3 or draw the cue ball back to be a little more on top of the 3.
Jason's getting a bit hot under the collar about something here. Some sort of distraction going on. Ben's exactly the sort of person you want to cool things down a bit. Anyway, we'll try and find out later what that was all about.
Looks like he's trying to stun over. Oh, he caught that a little heavy. So he's going to get thin on the 3 and certainly not in the position he wants. And now he cannot hold the cue ball. He's going to have to make a real sensitive decision here on a 3. He don't have a lot of options with. He's going to have to cut it quite a bit. Does he cut it to play safe? Does he cut it? If he cuts it, he's going to go into the 9 with the cue ball. Not sure really what the shot is here. He could hit the 3 real thin, trying to get it to the top rail and draw off the 9, maybe. Yeah, trying to do something like that. He's going to leave it a gap, though, I think. I think there's a gap there.
Gorst is pretty much the most consistent player around at the moment in these big events. It's the 4th Matchroom Open event in a row that he's reached this stage. He's beaten in the quarters of both the Spanish and European Opens, but then all the way to the final of the US Open weekend before last in Atlantic City.
Really clean to the pocket there. He made that look a lot easier than it actually was, having to apply a little bit of right spin. And now in position to take his first lead.
Has won a couple of ranking events this year. Not on this scale, but a couple of established events in the United States. Winner of the Turning Stone last month. Very prestigious tournament with quite a bit of history at this stage. Beat Mika Immonen in the final of that. So 3 balls down off the break. Didn't see it out from there because of the way they fell. But he has ended up winning the rack, and as you say, Jeremy, Fedor Gorst now leading for the first time against Jayson Shaw at 4-3. Just to go back to what I was asking you earlier before we got distracted by seeing Efren Reyes there. You now know who your 3 automatic selections are for the Mosconi Cup. You've seen how all your players have fared here except Gorst, but he's already in the team anyway. So without naming names, do you know in your head who your 2 picks are going to be, or is there still a lot to consider?
I wouldn't say there's a lot to consider. I wouldn't say I'm down to just 2 just yet. I have some thinking to do, consider after this tournament. I've been a little under the weather here, so I got to clear my mind. From what I did see from the Americans, I was very happy through and through. I thought there was a lot of quality matches, and of course all the players that were in the hunt really showed some quality here in Hanoi. So it'll be a long trip home, spend a day in London, and on to see the family, then right back at it as soon as I get home. But yeah, it's narrowing down quickly, and it won't be long before both Ralph and I give those picks.
And again, just to clarify, I'm not looking for any names, but you're saying you haven't got your 2 yet. Is there even one player who's definitely getting in?
Yes, in my mind, yeah. I think so, yeah. And like I said, I want to make sure everything's clear. Oh, almost an awful kiss on the cue ball. Now we'll see about a push-out situation. And we always talk about Fedor Gorst, a very difficult person to push out against. So is Eagle Eye.
We had a look there on the other quarterfinal going on. Sanyan Pelovanovic is having a dream evening here in Hanoi. 6-2 up now against Michael Feliciano. I think most people were looking at Feliciano as a marginal favourite in that one. Yes, he's got much less experience in this sort of environment, but the fact is he's come through 2 strong fields to get to the final recently in the Philippines, and then here in Hanoi in the other tournament that was played here just before this one.
Yeah, but you gotta like those people that are just keeping at it every tournament, and that's what Pazelj, Sanjan's buddy, and of course himself have been doing. And you don't do that for no reason. You do that for good reason. And be interesting to see if Fedor Gorst got through this match, and of course Sanjan holds on to that lead. Maybe he'll get a little payback for his buddy Alexa Pazelj from that semifinal at the U.S. Open.
Yeah, Pazelj got to that semi-final by defeating Jayson Shaw. It was a real turnaround. Shaw was looking very good at 6-2, but he only won 1 rack after that.
Yeah, this is not easy here. This is a difficult one you got to take on, though, I think. Cutting the 2 towards the 8, coming 1 rail behind the green 6. It's a bare ball, but it's there. If he does anything else, he may catch a double kiss. Okay, this is a great shot. Well, this ball ran a little long. I thought he was going to hold behind the 3. When Jayson first came to the States playing all this 9-ball pool, it was the one kind of area that many thought he lacked. Now, many thought he lacked quite a bit more in. I did not. It just wasn't always the standard safeties, but I think he's one of the best in the game tactically now.
Yeah, moved to the States to play pool. Came from a snooker background originally, which is obviously so strong in the Glasgow area.
Okay, easy to hit this thick on the slick table into the top cushion. Oh, he's actually overcut it. He's going to need a little roll here. Not going to get it. So big chance for Eagle Eye.
Yeah, it was a miss by Gorst from distance into that same pocket. That got Shaw off to the beginnings of that 2-0 lead. And a fine opportunity here to take this rack when he's in a very different place, looking to level again. When you look at the big field Matchroom events, these open tournaments and the World Championship, Shaw hadn't been any further than the last 32 of any of them this year until he got to that quarter-final in Atlantic City. So reaching the last 8 for the 2nd event in a row. Was runner-up in the Premier League earlier in the year. Such a tough tournament that, with so many matches to be played. And was beaten for the title by Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, and I've rarely seen anyone, Jeremy, look so devastated to lose a match as he was that night.
Yeah, well, I like him taking a little extra time there. He caught that a little thin to the pocket. This cue ball is a good foot and a half, 2 feet further than it should be, and a little awkward cueing. Yeah, he simplified it. I think that's smart. I always look at Jayson, of course, very straight shooter, and we feel like he can make anything, but always felt like he was like a golfer with soft hands. He just has a real good touch, gets a lot out of the cue ball, and just a very unique player. You see, very right-eye dominant, even though a lefty. Does a lot of other sports right-handed.
Yeah, very nicely played, as the crowd are well aware. A ripple of applause greets him landing on the 9, and then coming off both points of the side pockets. We didn't need to see that look to know how relieved he was at that. Already threw away one rack earlier, didn't want to lose that one in those circumstances. Pretty eventful first 8 racks, JJ, and it's all culminated in us being level at 4-all.
Absolutely, and I think he just got down and shot that 9 without realizing it was that close to a scratch, because he hit the 9 to the pocket how he wanted, and nearly a big boo-boo from Jayson Shaw, but he's having fun with it.
Yeah, and that won't do him any harm, because as we saw, I think it was in the previous rack, he was just starting to lose his cool ever so slightly. There seemed to be something disturbing him just away from the table. So close going here. 6-2 to Sanyin Pelovanovic against Michael Feliciano. That's still the score in the other quarterfinal going on right now. And the winners of those 2 matches will play each other. Still to come later, we'll have Ko Ping Chung against Kyle Amoroso on the main table, while David Al-Kadi plays Alban Ocean on the other one. 4-all here.
Oh, I was wondering when the bad unlucky scratch was coming for one of these players, and here it is in game number 9. And I was thinking about the break shot in Sanjin, actually, as I was watching this one, and Sanjin obviously playing well. But I don't think that big of an underdog in any of these matches, just because he's got to be breaking the balls really well. And when you're breaking the balls well, it just pumps you up.
So Shaw couldn't avoid, or did avoid rather, the scratch in potting the winning 9 at the end of the previous rack, but there was no getting away from it there.
You know, ball in hand, you always have a preference. Some would set this behind the blue 2 and roll this in the side, just because you almost always have better command of the cue ball when you're rolling it forward versus drawing it back. Shouldn't matter a whole lot, but he could possibly get a little thinner on the ping 4 than he originally desired. So he's really got to kill the cue ball here. Uh-oh. Oof. Took a long look at that one as it went towards the pocket.
Just an update on Sanyin Pelovanovic. Things all still going his way. It's 7-2 now against Michael Feliciano. Remember, if Pelovanovic wins the tournament, having started this 19th in the European Mosconi Cup standings, that could be enough for him to claim an automatic place. It'll depend on other results.
Yeah, and he doesn't like it. And the reason why, the slick table doesn't grip quite like the outer tables. So he's a little worried about getting past the 6, it seems. So a lot of speed coming 2 rails. This is going to end up not where he wanted. And that all stemmed from that ball in hand I was talking about, Michael, to where he decided to draw over, like I said, instead of putting the cue ball behind the 2. If you're rolling through, not only do you see your mark in your peripheral vision, which is another reason why you usually hit your mark, but always best to follow instead of drawing if you can. That's got to go.
We've seen that happening a few times from both players. Safeties of that nature, they're overrunning the cue ball by quite a distance, really.
I think the shot clock has affected them a little bit here in this match. And that's almost a perfect example of the shot I was talking, or what I was talking about earlier, with the soft hands of Jayson Shaw. You can see the grips really loose. Makes the pocket a little bigger, I think, when striking the ball.
Wow, that's just absolutely perfect, isn't it? Nothing can go wrong from here. Jayson Shaw had the first scratched break of the match in rack 9, but he ended up winning it anyway, and he's back in front now against Fedor Gorst. He's won 2 racks in a row, and he leads 5-4. He's taken a little breather, making his way back into the arena now to rejoin Gorst, playing for a place in the semi-finals of the inaugural staging of this major event. The World Championship has been in Asia in the past, but really in recent times this is by far the biggest 9-ball event there's been in this corner of the world. 5 racks on the board then 5 more, and he'll have one of his finest wins for some time.
Oh, there's that kiss that seems to happen so often. I'll tell you, he's going to get a big reward after a big mistake from Fedor Gorst in rack number 9. Now surveying the purple 5 to see if it squeezes by. I don't think it's that much worry at the moment. The 2, 3, and the 4 is very available, so that'll be addressed a little bit later. Oh, this went off in his hand. You remember one earlier that was a little heavy, and that's getting away with it a bit. He didn't want to near that pocket at all.
Sanyan Pelovanovic has won his 8th rack in a row. He leads Michael Feliciano 8-2. Just needs a couple more to move into the semis.
Yeah, things, if the 5 is tight, things are laying nice for Jayson. If it does play, the 6 is in a good spot to where you can simplify the 5. You don't need an angle.
Extension call.
So he wants to get real close to this if it's as tight as he's kind of led us to believe. Remember the 2 ball early that he caught the 5 going by on a tight one. Real nice there, and he got close enough to it with the 6 accessible. He could play it with a pretty light speed. It's a little one, just pay attention. It's going to catch a piece of the 7. He needs a friendly bump. And for just being inches away, this landed just about as awkward as it could. Position not that hard if he plays the upper left, but that's a more missable pocket. So he's going to play the upper right, come short side, I think, maybe into the 9. I don't know about that one. Yeah, well, look at the position, so you can tell really nothing he wanted on that 7 ball. Even if he pocketed, not a real playable shot on the 8.
Extension call.
So twice in this match, he's had a great chance to run out from the break and passed it up. Still hasn't done it.
All right, I like easing off the left side of this. He looks like he's doing something else. Yeah, that's the right shot. This should slow down. And it's going to give him a little angle to get easily onto the 9.
So much has happened already in this match. What looked like happening was Shaw restoring the 2-rack gap he had right at the start of it. Instead of which, Fedor Gorst has levelled once more. It's now 5-all. So just a reminder, Sanyan Pelovanovic looking for just a couple more racks against Michael Feliciano. 8-2 in that quarter-final. So highly likely that the young player from Bosnia and Herzegovina is going to be the semi-final opponent for the winner of this match.
Yeah, and the way Feliciano is held up, you got to believe Sanjan's just sat him in the chair quite often.
So a look in once again on the exhibition involving Efren Reyes. This is Nguyen Tan, one of the Vietnamese contingent, up against him. What a thrill it must be for him to be playing Efren Reyes, because he's someone from a whole different era who he probably never imagined he'd get to experience something like this with.
Yeah, well, definitely not here in his home country, and probably family near, fans, of course. And I've played a few exhibitions with Efren. You want to try and win whenever you get the chance. And win or lose, though, a special match for both and all the fans here in Vietnam.
Yeah, Reyes, world champion 1999, US Open champion in 94. But as I was saying earlier, even when you throw in the 2 World Cup of Pool wins that he had with the Philippines, including the first ever staging, in fact, back in 2006 in Wales, it's a long way, really, from telling the full story of who he is and
Push out
why
cool.
he's held in such reverence in the game.
Yeah, and if you're new to 9-ball pool, you might feel like the push out is just there for you after the break when you're snookered on the lowest valued ball on the table, but that's not the case. Like right there, Fedor could see the blue 2, but he didn't like his position. I'll tell you what, did he leave him enough of a cut here to where he can just go back and forth and kind of land the cue ball somewhat where the blue 2 is now and take on a 3-4 combination that's not that difficult? I'll tell you, I may look at shooting at this. I mean, look at it. The cue ball's all the way up by the side. The 2's near the head string, so that's the middle diamond. This is a very playable shot. I would look to find that position on this combination. Yeah, and it looks like it agrees with going back and forth as well, Michael, to land on that right rail and get on the combination I was talking about.
Extension cool.
Yeah, I think you got to take a chance. Even if you like coming back over to the clear side of the table where the cue ball's at now, you can play a kiss shot off the 3 into the 4. Couldn't imagine him not cutting at this. And certainly not giving it back. Absolutely be shocking if he gave this back.
Fedor, please play again.
Wow.
Do you think maybe he was influenced there by the fact that he was running out of time?
Well, he left on a miss a moment ago. There's something he doesn't like, that's for sure. But, you know, you got to tip your hat when a player makes a great out. But you also got to take it on yourself if it's there, I think. And especially a guy like Jayson, he can manage this. Whether it be a bank shot here from Fedor, I would personally cut it in. The overhead really showed us that it was cuttable ball. So you playing the cross corner bank, holding for the combination. That's surprising there, not recognizing that wasn't playable. The bank was not playable, trying to bring the cue ball down on the bottom.
It almost looked as though Shaw panicked a little bit. He realised he had 5 seconds left, and rather than get down and play a difficult shot, he decided just to take the other option. Whether or not that was the case, it's worked out pretty well for him.
Well, he's going to get over here on the side rail. Now, this is the kiss shot I was talking about. Now, has he gotten to where he can hold the 3 while playing the kiss shot? I think so. I don't like the combination very much. I think that's a missable ball. I think the kiss shot's definitely the play offensively. Oh, really nice. Really nice. He's so good at that one rail shot into space. A lot of players want to use that second rail, and then they end up landing on the second rail and causing some problems.
A great chance to open a 2-rack gap for the second time of the match in the previous rack. Ran out of position, it caught up with him. Fedor Gorst levels, but Jayson Shaw has regained the lead in this absorbing quarter-final contest. Shaw goes 6-5. Michael Feliciano really needed to stem the tide of Semyon Pelovanovic. He's done that. He's won the 11th rack. He had lost 8 in a row prior to that. So Pelovanovic still looking for 2 more. It's 8-3 in that one. This indeed is the match we're talking about. Last 32 at the US Open, Pelovanovic. He'd been in the last 16 of the Spanish back in June in Lugo. Breaking a bit of a barrier even by getting this far, and looks perfectly comfortable with the prospect of going even further and being here for the very last day.
Rack 12. Jayson Shaw to break.
Well, you remember the last scalp he took in this tournament, that was FSR, so. And really we've seen this from the PLP, start off really incredibly the first couple of days. Seems like beating everyone he played. Now Shaw's got a good look at the 2, but the 3 is in a difficult position. I wonder if he can cut the 2 in and get into this 5, 3, and 9 that kind of sit near the racking area of the table. Looks like he can if he wanted to hit it easy, but how much is it going to open hitting it easy? And so now a difficult spot. He can come 3 rails. He can't get very good on the red 3 coming 3 rails. But I wonder if the 3-5 is a playable combination. Say he was to get the cue ball kind of off 3 cushions to the top right part of the table as we're looking at the screen now. I wonder if the 3-5 is a makeable combo. All right, he's going to kill the cue ball for a safety on the 3, it seems. Oh, he's playing safe now. Don't think he did as well as he wanted. Yeah, you can see a little grimace on his face. Felt like he should have totally cut off this 1 rail kick.
Extension call.
Semyon Pelovanovic did complete the job. He's won that 12th rack, so on the hill at 9-3 against Michael Feliciano. Oh, where's this going? They're happy. Not sure he is.
Yeah, he loved the kick shot. Got the cue ball exactly where he wanted, knowing the 2 was going to go up table, but couldn't control the 2 completely, and it has fallen in the upper corner pocket. So I'd say things are going the way for Jayson to take this match down. We've seen a couple mistakes by Federer, and then a few unfortunate things as well. Oh. He obviously has a shot in the side. It's all about the direction of the cue ball, Michael. And it's going right at the purple.
Extension call.
Doesn't want to hit this with a ton of speed, but he does expect a collision on the cue ball. Oh, he got by it.
That'll do anytime.
You could tell he was going to overrun the pink, but that was all because he, like I said, he expected to collide into the purple 5. No problem with the draw stroke there.
Not been a match of great swings, has it? Someone winning 3 or 4 in a row. Never been more than 2 racks consecutively for either player. No one's ever really taken control of it to any great extent. Now Shaw is getting to that stage, if he goes 7-5 here, where if he can just keep it that way and nurse the lead, keep chipping away at it, won't be long before he's fallen over the line. And now he's getting the crowd involved again. So Jayson Shaw won the first 2 racks of the match. So much has happened since then. But here we are, 10 racks later, he's 2 clear again. And he only needs 3 more for a big, big win and a place in the semi-finals. So this is the other quarter-final that could be heading for a finish. These are the final moments of it, it seems. Sanyan Pelevanovic lost the first 2 racks against Michael Feliciano. And it seems as though he's going to finish it by winning 10 out of 11 since then. Sanyan Pelevanovic has been in the semi-finals of one Matchroom event already this year. The Premier League in Leicester, in the East Midlands of England, back in March. And here, in the capital city of Vietnam, Sanyan Pelevanovic is a 10-3 winner. He's through to the last 4.
Yeah, you can see it nice. Congratulations.
Scotland's Jayson Shaw is back in charge of this quarter-final against the man in form, Fedor Gorst, now representing the United States. Jayson Shaw is leading 7-5. 10 the target for a place in the semi-finals. And we now know whoever gets through will face Sanyan Pelovanovic for a place in the final tomorrow. And this is nice, JJ.
Yeah, very nice. They've had a few looks after the break and hadn't been a ton of breaking runs.
Just the one?
Yeah, oh, just one. Okay. So, but this sets up to extend that lead with really a chip-in 2 ball. There is some work. 2 to the 4, back to the 5, back down to the 6. So anytime you got to work the cue ball, that's when you talk about the layouts being tougher. So he's got to worry about coming back, getting on the 5, not falling straight, staying off the cushion with the cue ball, not getting elevated over the 7-8 either. Okay, he's in a good spot here. Should just come down the left side of the table.
He has actually won 2 world ranking counting tournaments in 2023. Smaller events, but decent events. Turning Stone, where he held off Skylar Woodward's late charge back in January. And in his homeland, he won the Scottish Open just before the UK Open at the end of May. Beat Victor Zielinski. Both of those were hill finishes. But if he could beat Fedor Gorst, who's been in such good form and certainly in the conversation for best player in the world at the moment, to get through to the last day of one of these big field, full-scale Matchroom events, that would surely be the high point of his year so far.
Yeah, this is where I was talking about those soft hands trying to kill the cue ball here. Don't think he wants to work the cue ball. He can.
I think you've referred to that so often in this match, JJ, that he might need to take the words eagle eye off the back of his shirt. He could be Jayson Soft Hands Shaw.
Boy, he's just got such a good touch.
And he's really looking like he fancies this now. Nobody's won 3 racks in a row at any stage of this match. Nobody's been more than 2 clear. But we can change both of those things now, because Jayson Shaw is a very firm favourite to win this quarterfinal. He leads Fedor Gorst 8-5. So with the Pelovanovic-Feliciano match now completed, David O'Cady and Albin Ocean are just about to get started in their match. One other quarter-final to come. That'll be on this main table. Ko Ping Chung looking for back-to-back Matchroom Open titles after his win in Atlantic City just a couple of weeks ago, taking on Kyle Amoroto, who's never been this far in one of these tournaments before. 21-year-old from the Philippines, and indeed now, JJ, the last of the sizable and strong Philippines contingent left in this championship.
Yeah, and he's played some incredible pool this week. An interesting little fist bump there. Ralph Eckert coming up afterwards and giving Jayson Shaw a little fist bump after the break and run.
That was because they knew you were watching. Getting the mind games in early. Good times for Jayson Shaw. Just a couple more needed.
Sounds dry. Sounds dry. Oh,
it's
no,
not
he got
dry.
a ball down.
He was walking back to his chair, literally throwing his hand at it.
Yeah.
Now watch the 2 here. It just keeps on going, and nice on the 1 as well.
Yeah.
Everything's going his way now.
Absolutely. The 3 over the side, the 4 near. Just all about maintaining. He knows he's got to finish. Nothing too tricky here. I don't know if I play for the side pocket and the right. I might come yeah, I like this. Ooh, oh. He actually barely got by the pink, but it's going to be okay. I did like him moving the cue ball past rather than laying up on this rail for the side pocket. I think this is a smart shot. 6 has both pockets down below, so he can handle a lot on the purple.
Clearly, if you had said to him before the start of the match, if you win in any circumstances, how do you think that's going to go down? He'd said, well, or he would say, well, surely that's going to make me feel absolutely fantastic. But if he does it by pulling away from 5-all and continuing to play the way he has over these last few racks, he's just going to be on such a massive high going into the semi-final. Right while I was in the middle of saying all that, he's missed the 6.
Yeah, and he missed it by some piece there. That was way high. He should know the way the table's playing. He can use the bottom cushion a little bit at that pace and still most likely knock the 6 in. Still getting a little his way, though, overall, even on a miss. Does he go around the 7 here? Does he come above the 7? If he goes around the 7, he's got action to chip the 6 into the 8 and move the cue ball up table. I don't know if that shot's there or not. We'll soon see. He could whiff it. May not hit it at all. Yeah, I was going to say it looked a little touchy going behind it.
Please start the clock.
Gorst was a marginal favourite in most people's minds coming into this match, but he's cutting a sad figure now. Body language not encouraging there as he returned to his chair. So it was 5-all. It really had been close all the way. Either player streaking away towards the end of the match didn't seem like a very likely turn of events, but Shaw, having had ball in hand, has gone on to set up this 9-ball for his 4th rack in a row. And with that, he's on the hill. Jayson Shaw, 1 away from victory. He leads 9-5.
Yeah, not the way Jayson wanted to win rack 14 to get to the hill, but he'll take it. 9-ball pool, they come a bunch of different ways at times.
So these were the moments that took Jayson Shaw to the brink of a fine win, and all year we've been waiting for him to really get his 2023 started in terms of the biggest events. To an extent he was doing it at the US Open, but then it ended on a low note really when he lost that big lead to go out at this stage to Alexa Pechelge. But all the talk around this venue in Hanoi over the last few days has suggested that anyone who's been watching Jayson Shaw's matches has seen him play very nicely indeed. He's not been at his best in this, no question about that, but he's on the brink of winning it.
Well, I'll tell you, it wasn't the best contact on the last break, and that one was even worse. Hate to be harsh, but not the way he wanted to go away with his last break in this match. And he's got a lead, but you know, nothing's protected here playing 9-ball pool, especially facing Fedor Gorst. Awkward shot being elevated. If he had a little more cut on the 1, it would be really routine to get on the 2. Should be okay, but this can easily get away from you. Looks like he's done real well.
So no more safety nets now for Gorst. He's got to win 5 racks in a row. So much talk in the last few days about him switching to the American side for the Mosconi Cup. He's already won one, playing for Europe in the reclaim at the Rico in 2020. He and Shaw were teammates then.
Yeah, and it's a full-time thing. It wasn't really just for the Mosconi Cup. He'll be playing for America from now on, and well, all the events.
It had to be that way, didn't it? Because
Absolutely.
You couldn't have him playing for the US in the Mosconi and then going into the next event and the Stars and Stripes not alongside his name.
Yeah, very unique situation, and With unique situations comes special circumstance, and one we're all proud to have him. Be interesting to see if he can get out here and strike the break. What's going to come of it? Is he going to come away with some shots? Hadn't had a whole lot after the break, but certainly he's broken ran 4 racks before, and I think we'd all love to see a hill-hill match.
Not sure Jayson would. Gorst actually in that one Moscone he did play in had a chance along with Albin Ocean to clinch the win that brought the cup back to Europe after back-to-back defeats in the previous couple of years. They lost to Billy Thorpe and the player who was then known as Chris Robinson, so it fell to the next match when the cup was won by Jayson Shaw.
I'm not sure. It looks pretty heavy here on the 7. He could go forward trying to get a nice natural angle to move off the 8 like that. Cue ball came a little further than he wanted. Now not so natural. Like you said, no more lives left. Can't afford any little mistake.
And there was the possibility of a mistake there that could have gone wrong. In the end, he's judged it to absolute perfection. And he still has a chance. Needed 5 in a row. There's 1. Shaw's lead trimmed to 9. From 5-all, Jayson Shaw surged through 4 racks in a row, all the way to the brink of victory at 9-5 in this Hanoi Open quarter-final against Fedor Gorst. But when he broke on the hill, he came up dry, and Gorst is still punching here. And that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, and that's what I was curious of. If he got a ball down, hit him how he wanted, what were those infamous pool gods going to give him? And they gave him a sweet one to start. Very doable rack here. Now we've seen 2 or 3 just, it's not so much the mistakes, they were just kind of out of normal kind of mistakes for Fedor Gorst. We all make them. But just some he just kind of felt and looked bewildered about.
Gorst is number 4 in the world. If he was to win the tournament, possibly even if he gets to the final, he'll be the new world number 2. Now when you look at Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, who's number 1 at the moment, but really that's all on the basis of stuff that happened at least 6 months ago or more. And really it would be hard to make an argument against Gorst as the best player in the world right now, particularly as he's doing it so consistently. Been to the later stages of so many of these big events recently. Played in some wonderful atmospheres. Remember the Saturday night against the hometown favourite Joshua Filler in Fulda at the European Open. Final of the Atlantic City with such a great, knowledgeable crowd just a couple of weeks ago, and now here in Pool Mad Hanoi.
He's got a funny little 6-ball here, Michael. The 9 just doesn't allow perfect, so he may have to play from above, and when he shoots the 6, maybe bump the 8 just slightly. We'll see. The good thing is he's going to be close to it no matter what he plays, so accuracy should be at a premium. Oh, he's got nice. He can hold the ball. He's got real straight here.
So it was Shaw's dry break which set Gorst up to win the previous rack. It was his own good break which has proved to be the basis of winning this one. Only his second break and run of the match. Fedor Gorst has got it back to 9-7, and Jayson Shaw, JJ, must be starting to feel a bit uncomfortable about what's unfolding here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jayson, of course, has maybe forgotten about it, but it was a pretty big miss hit on the break at 9-5, I believe it was, and came up dry. And now, yeah, he's a little worried. Now we're going to all sweat the cue ball, assuming Gorst does pocket the one on the side, and it is nothing we should assume, but get some funny kisses on the cue ball, it seems like, late in these matches. Sometimes it's a golden break from it. Sometimes it's ball in hand for your opponent.
That is the thing, even from 9-5 down as he was, still the possibility you can turn it round. You have to keep doing it shot after shot, and it only takes one little thing to go against you, and the chance can be gone. But he needed 5 in a row. That's 2 down.
Well, there's the one down, the cue ball near the blue 2 again. 2 down on the break.
They're loving every minute of it, aren't they? They've been here in numbers, growing and growing throughout the week.
Yeah, that's the upper part of this venue there with some, I don't know, 1,000 people up in the top part maybe. all the way across, maybe 600-700.
They're a bit fragmented, so it's hard to get a proper gauge on how many there are in here. And of course, they're not just watching this table, there are crowds on the other two tables as well.
Yeah, that's the sweet part. We should get one more step closer to that hill thriller we're all wanting between these two giants of the game. That's a little funny shot. He's got to kind of pinch it a little bit. Doesn't want to get it too much and clip the 4 going by. Really nice. Those little shots, you know, when the nerves are high, can be touchy.
Shaw clearly looked a firm favourite at 9-5. I'd have to suggest if Gorst wins this rack and is then breaking, looking to take us hill, probably be a marginal favourite.
Yeah, of course the conditions make a big difference, but through the years that's always been the argument between two great players. One player needs 1 game, another needs 2, but the player that needs 2 is at the breaking end. Well, this table seems very conducive for this comeback. He could have got a little more out of the draw stroke there. Now he's got to pay attention to the green 6. He doesn't want to go back and forth. Not the way this table plays. You'd rather kill the ball off the green 6 to get onto the 7. And you see him taking a mean look at this one. Type of shot that if you catch that left knuckle, it could hang.
Looks like job done here. So only 1 break and run in the match. Now he's going to have 2 in a row. And plenty of mistakes on both sides. But just when he really needed to, Fedor Gorst has turned into a machine here. 3 in a row, he's looking very good, and all of a sudden he's only 1 behind. So looking to complete quite a recovery. Alban Ocean was doing exactly that last night against Shane Van Boney when he won from 7-2 down. Came back to win by 10 racks to 8. Well, he's in action at the moment in the early stages of his quarter-final, and he leads David O'Cady, the European Open winner in Germany back in late summer. 2-0 there to the Austrian. And the winner of that will go through to a semi-final against whoever comes through the 1 remaining match we have today on the main table. Really, when it was 9-5 to that man, we might have thought we'd be into that one by now. Ko Ping Chung against Kyle Amoroso. It will follow a few minutes after the conclusion of this.
Oh, there's a kiss on the cue ball.
Well, you talk about how at different times of the match things have fallen right or wrong for different players. What a moment this is for Gorst. Got the collision with the 5, but just managed to catch the knuckle and stay on the table.
Man, this has gotten treacherously difficult if he wants to keep Jayson in the chair and attack. 2 does play in the right middle, but awkward cueing, and I think he can't level out and shoot it. Looks like a natural scratch in the upper left corner. The purple 5's gotten in the way of the upper right corner trying to pocket the 2. So a big decision for Fedor Gorst. And the 3's a little covered up anyways.
Extension call.
A face with concern written all over it.
He looks a little better than he did just a minute ago, though, knowing this is much more difficult. Now, can he play this with speed to lay the cue ball down behind the 3-7? That's what he's going to play. Doesn't want to leave a gap. It's close. I think the jump cue will definitely come out. And you may see Jayson Shaw go for a cross-side bank.
It's the first time we've seen him at all for 3 racks.
I believe it's the short cue. I can't tell for sure.
Extension call.
Yeah, I don't know. It isn't. No, he's got the full cue in his hand, so maybe it's just a sliver he has to jump, and he's not elevating at all. So he can get at this ball. I like the decision. Should be somewhat of the same. Cue ball behind the 3-7 as the 2 comes up the right side rail. I think Jayson had to subtly swerve that ball, so he can't be too upset with that outcome. This is going to be too much. This is going to be too much. He's definitely let him get a look at the blue 2. And I think neither player with an extension left here in rack 18, and if he gets him up behind the 9, a little surprised on that safety from Fedor a moment ago that he didn't split the 2 in the cue ball a little more, playing more of a cut shot. Only reason being is just a little more room for error with the safety that way. Now he wants to kick across. This shouldn't be with a ton of speed to try and keep accurate and get a snooker in return. Well, there you go, Jayson Shaw. You do have a pocketable ball in the corner. Position's not easy, but it is there.
And at least he can do something about things now. The last couple of racks, he didn't get to the table at all. When you're in that situation, you're just hoping for a chance, any sort of chance.
Well, this is tricky, though, Michael. The 9's a big ball that's really kind of precluding the cue ball movement. I think he's going to go, though. Yeah, this is what I was worried about. Now, does he go for the cross corner bank on the 3? Or does he play it thin, 2 rails to the top rail, bringing the cue ball all the way back down for safe? I think he's got to bank it slowly to make it. He's going to play the safety. This isn't enough speed, especially for the jump cue from Fedor Gorst. There's certainly a window there. And you wonder about the shot on the 2. Like, I'd like to ask Jayson, of course, if he wins the match, it's easy. Might have to wait a while if he doesn't. But like what he was thinking on the 2 to get on the 3 right there. He hit the 2 how he wanted it to look like. It went right into the 9.
But where did he intend to go with it? Okay, so now it's Gorst's chance.
Yeah, he landed near the cushion. I don't think either player has an extension, so he's got to get on with it.
Shaw has really got to keep his emotions in check now. Nothing he can do about it at the moment, but if the chance does come in either this rack or the next to get this one, he's got to be emotionally in the right state to do it.
I know our clock guy is on point, but when he announces 10, it seems like he gets to 5 pretty quick, in my opinion. But he's been consistent with it, so I'm sure it's on point. This is treacherous as well. He's got to draw 1 rail over between the 7-9. If he contacts the 7 coming back, you can see the 9 could be a problem. And you wouldn't say it's precision pool, but that doesn't matter at this point as long as you keep knocking them in.
And when you can pot as well as he does, sometimes you can get away with less than precise.
Yeah, and another question mark, does he follow the ball on the slick table? You'll see more misses with the follow stroke from the guys than the draw stroke normally. And both an option here. Normally he would follow 2 rails out here.
And is that the moment when Fedor Gorst's brave bid to turn this match around comes to an end? Well, it seems it really, really is, because Jayson Shaw has been offered the hand in concession. Still needed to take care of the 7, 8, 9. It was about as routine as you could hope it to be, but he's not even going to have to do it. It was such a close contest for half of that match, all the way up to 5-all. Then Jayson Shaw pulled away to 9-5. Fedor Gorst got one back, then had a couple of breaking runs. That got it back to 9-8. Looked as though we were heading hill-hill. The miss came on the 7, and the handshake followed soon after. And just a few moments following that, Jayson Shaw took the congratulations of his Mosconi Cup captain. He's got the congratulations of us all, and he's got a place in the semi-finals. He's the winner, 10-8.